Good afternoon. My name is Ces Butner, and I have the honor of serving as this year's president of Rotary Club of Oakland. Founded in 1908, the Rotary Club of Oakland is the third oldest Rotary Club of some 35,000 Rotary clubs throughout the world. We are a community of 300 men and women from all walks of Oakland civic, commercial, and community life, committed to the Rotary motto of service above self. I'd like to welcome you to our 5,325th club meeting. For over 111 years, we have welcomed Rotarians and guests from around the world to our club meetings. We continue to do so virtually, so if you're a visiting Rotarian, or if you're a guest of a Rotarian, please let us know by typing your name and the name of your club into the chat box located at the center bottom of the screen, as indicated by the arrow on the slide you're viewing now. By doing so, we will be able to recognize you later in this meeting. Also, we recommend that all participants view this Zoom meeting by clicking the speaker view button located in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. And if you have comments throughout the meeting or questions for the speaker, please use the chat button at the bottom of the screen for that as well. And now for the thought for the day, Rotarian Stephen Murphy.
Thank you, Ces, and thank you for the honor of doing this. So last night, as I was walking my dogs and listening to NPR, I was listening and hearing about Joe Biden's executive orders regarding the environment. And at the same time, I was thinking about what I would share with all of you today. And I thought about Van Jones. Van Jones is an amazing human being, an author of 3 best-selling books, started the Ella Baker Center, also wrote a book called The Green Economy. And so he's just a real inspiration, not to me, being the president of a school, not only about the environment, but also around social justice. So I'm going to read a Van Jones quote. And if you don't know a lot about Van Jones, just Wikipedia him. He's just an extraordinary human being, very inspirational, one of my heroes. So he says, "Let us all say together, we want to build a green economy strong enough to lift people out of poverty. We want to create green pathways out of poverty and into great careers for America's children. We want this green wave to lift all boats. This country can save the polar bears and poor kids too." So that's my thought of the day.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for setting the tone for the meeting with that inspiring thought from Van Jones. Because we want to remain grounded and focused, we begin our meetings by jointly reciting our vision, which is, together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves. I hope you enjoyed last week's meeting where we had another great speaker, Italina Kirkness, who gave us numerous suggestions on how to up our social media skills. I know that this is an area that the communication chair, Isaac House Reed, is working on, and through his committee to provide our club with greater exposure. I know it doesn't seem like it will ever happen, but one day we'll be back to regular order and in-person meetings. Until that time, though, we will continue to provide you with interesting, topical, sometimes high-profile speakers to keep and attract members in this COVID-19 pandemic period. In addition, as we did last week, we will periodically have break rooms to stimulate that in-person meeting feel of a table where fellowship can occur. All this to make the Civic Thursday meetings of the Rotary Club of Oakland an enjoyable and a must-attend meeting for our members. Did I mention my members? I remind you all of the challenge that I had to help me bring in my goal for the second half of the year, bring in a new member. I need 35, let's see, but we got 6 or so already, so let's make it 29 of you to bring in a new member and share what Rotary Service Above Self does for all of us. So sit back and enjoy another of my great Civic Thursday meetings where you can catch a great speaker and get involved with Rotary where service above self exists. Now, let's get started with the meeting with our Business Development Committee meeting sponsor this week, Rotarian Sandeepa Nayak and her company, Ka Creations. Sandeepa. You're muted, that Sandeepa.
Okay,
All right.
so my name is Sandeepa. I'm the owner of Ka Creation, and we are a website development company here in the Bay Area with about 19 developers working both here as well as in India. We help businesses with website design, development, online presence, and web maintenance. We love working with local businesses to improve their VCP, which means visibility by building their website, credibility by creating search engine optimized presence, by doing their Google Maps, listing their business on Google Maps and bringing them more online reviews, which results in profitability by getting more appointments, calls, sales, whatever the goal may be. We love working with all kinds of businesses. It doesn't matter which sector they are in. We know how to create websites and we'll create the website for that business. So attorneys, construction, electricians, plumbers, everyone. We love creating websites for every kind of sector. We love working with nonprofits. It doesn't have to be, it can be in education, it be social causes, it can be in community, just like John Muir Foundation or Meals on Wheels or Oakland Rotary. We like working with all of these. So I would like your help, Oakland Rotary. I love to be introduced to graphic design agencies, marketing VPs, digital marketing agencies, and advertising agencies. We come in as their extended dev team that takes care of all their website needs or technical needs, allowing them more time to focus on their clients. So with that, I would like to close my presentation with a few thanks. First of all, I would like to thank Mark Rosen. Mark Rosen is the owner of Infogate Corp, personalized IT services serving small and mid-sized businesses for over 26 years here in the Bay Area. Please refer to Mark when you hear a business that needs their complete network management outsourced or just incident to incident basis. I would like to thank Leon Alameda Marketing Solutions, who is experienced in branding and marketing strategies for nonprofits and service businesses, providing them clearer, compelling messages that resonates with their audience and raise awareness through integrated marketing plans. I would also like to thank Jackie Forrester. Sorry about that. Jacqueline Forrester is the owner of Forrester Accounting, a boutique bookkeeping agency here in the Bay Area, helping businesses with their 1099 forms, taxes, PPP loans, or just teaching or setting their QuickBooks online. Then last but not the least, I would like to thank Danny Mai, the president of Noatech IT, focuses on voice, data security, access controls. You would call Danny when you hear a business is moving so he can come in and fix up all their cables and stuff like that. And thank you, Danny, for sponsoring me to Rotary Club of Oakland. And thank you, Rotary Club of Oakland, for having me. It's amazing to be here. President says, please ring the bell 5 times in names of all these people and Oakland Club of Rotary.
Wow, that is incredible. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So everyone knows a ringing of the bell is a $100 donation to the Oakland Rotary Endowment, which funds all the work, wonderful work we do. Thank you, Sandeepa, for that introduction. Past President Governor Ed Jelen. Do we have visiting Rotarians, I guess?
Yeah, we have some terrific guests with us today, Ces, and I'd like to take a second to welcome them all. First, Keith Uriarte has brought a guest. He is the Director of diversion and reentry programs at La Familia Counseling. And he's also, I think, might become a member of our club at some point. Understand there might be an application pending. So please welcome Jason Toro. Welcome, Jason.
Yeah.
And then Roberta Abel brought a guest today who is here as a consequence of a license plate. I'll let Roberta tell you the story at some point. But Roberta's guest here is newly arrived from Florida. He's a specialist in corporate and government communications. And his name is Will Placencia. Welcome, Will.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's see if we can find some more. Let's see. Isaac Kos-Reed brought a guest with him today, Zaidi Gutierrez of ABNI Foundry. And that person is looking us over to see if there might be a fit there. So I hope.
Yeah, she's already applied. Her money's in.
Yeah.
Money's in.
She's
Well,
coming.
all right.
Thank
Just
you.
as I was speaking. Yeah. All right. So welcome. And then finally, we have a teacher at Skyline High who is also the supervisor of our Interact Club at Skyline. And we love Interact. We're the #1 Interact district in the world. So please welcome Donna Salonga from Skyline High.
Well, thank you, Ed, and welcome to all the guests that have come here for us today. Interact Chair Greg Anus has brought some guests from Skyline High. Will you introduce your guests and service project that they would like to share with us?
Yes, thank you, President Ces. In 2019, I learned that the Skyline Interact Club could no longer be sponsored by the Oakland Uptown Rotary Club. I quickly extended the charter under our club, as the Skyline Interact Club was once sponsored by Oakland #3. So now they're back where they belong. Today, Skyline Interact is here to talk about the Gravity Water Project, which is in line with the new Rotary International Area of Focus, supporting the environment. I'm pleased to introduce members of our newest Interact Club, Sabrina Woodsum, Yene Chan, as well as their academic advisor, Donna Salonga. Take it away, guys.
Okay. There we go.
Ready?
Yes.
Hi, I'm Sabrina. I'm a sophomore at Skyline High School, and we are working to present our Gravity Water campaign.
Hi, I'm Yenny. I'm a sophomore too at Skyline High School. Oh, next slide. Gravity Water's mission statement. Gravity Water combines rainwater harvesting, elevated storage, and gravity-fed filtration, providing communities with developing countries and source of safe drinkable water that is on-site, self-sustaining, long-term, and 100% energy-free. Next slide.
So we are currently working with a secondary school in Nepal with 248 students ages 6 to 18. Their current water source is contaminated surface water or bottled water.
Next slide. So our club has been using social media a lot because that's like the new thing. And we've been spreading our like posts and stories and trying to reach out to people to promote our Gravity Water campaign. And we've asked everyone in our club to at least raise about $50 so we can get to our goals by emailing or DMing their friends, family, and community. We did struggle in the beginning, but in the end, we did get like a huge amount, which was really helpful. Next slide.
So for our educational component and informing the community, we sent out emails to our families and friends with a lot of information about our campaign and what we are working to accomplish. And we also put a message in our school's weekly email that is sent out to all the students with details about our team and how we are working to provide Nepal with sustainable source of drinking water and how they can donate.
Next slide. So drinking for water is where we asked everyone in our club to walk 3 miles because that's how much an average student in Nepal walks to get easy, drinkable, clean water. Yeah, and it was honestly kind of fun. Next slide.
So here's our campaign page. We currently have about $1,500 and our goal is $2,500. So we really appreciate any kind of support.
Yeah, and the link is in the chat. Next slide. This is the end of our presentation, but please be sure to help out our team reach out our goal. Yeah. If you
Thank
guys
you
have any questions, we'll be here to answer them.
Thank you so much, Sabrina Yene. We love it when our students take an interest in Rotary projects and help us out. And we will help you out, I'm sure also. Thank you so much for giving that presentation. Past President Robert Kidd, I understand you have an announcement from Cerrone Lena Committee.
Hello, Ces. Thanks for the time. As you know, the Cerrone Lena Scholarship Committee is one of the great traditions of our Rotary Club of Oakland. The committee invites all Rotarians to join us as we interview graduating high school students this spring, award scholarships, and then provide mentoring to recipients as they study their way through college. In particular, we extend this invitation to Rotarians who are, like most of our recipients, of the Latinx community, the African American community, the Asian American community, and the LGBTQ community. Think about joining our committee now. This is a great opportunity to engage young Oaklanders during this critical time in their lives. For more information, contact our committee co-chairs, Stephen Blair or Fred Morris. And a quick reminder, if any of you are aware of summer internship opportunities for our Cerrone Lena scholars, contact our committee member, Janice Brickley. Thanks, Ces. Back to you.
Thank you so much for that information. Always like the announcements and the updates. We have one now from the Carl Stuckey Rural Community Service Committee. Co-chairs Rania Webb and Phil Bennett.
Thank you, President Ces, and thanks for the opportunity to give you an update. I'd also like to take this opportunity to highlight the success of another one of President Ces's challenges to us as a club. And if we look at the slide, please, AV team, we should see, yes, the TRF newsletter shows a fantastic table here where President Ces committed us, challenged us to 100% contribution for everybody to contribute to the Oakland Rotary. We, as of January 8th, you can see we're third bottom on this table. We had 95% participation. We've doubled our target of $60,000 and are at $129,000. So thanks a lot to our Rotary Foundation co-chairs and their team on the committee, Leanne and Joe, for that. As the Carl Stuckey World Service Committee, we have already this year been able to contribute to some really good projects. One in Beirut in the Lebanon, we've been able to provide $1,000 to start providing people that are affected by that horrific blast back in August with solar charging units to help them charge their phones to talk to family and to have light where their homes have been destroyed. We also were able to provide $1,000 to a project which was providing Honduran families who were in great need of food, great food insecurity needs. And that money went a long way. $50 was providing a whole family with food for a month. And then we also, this last month, had the real joy to be able to invite the Cupertino Rotary Club to come and present to our Rural Community Service Committee and connect with new friends and old friends for some of us when past District Governor Joe Hamilton came to present to us and reconnect with a lot of old friends within our committee. But he also brought a really fantastic project to us, really a real need for children in Cambodia, kids that live in slums, we have been able to commit $4,000 to help with sanitary equipment and with PPE so that those kids, those underprivileged kids, can get to school and get an education.
Awesome.
So that,
And
sorry,
as Phil just said, thank you all to our club. We set an all-time record. And so our the TRF chair, Orrin, who is also a past district governor, just sends his praises and thanks to you all. And as well, we're sending a beautiful thank you from past district governor, as he said, Joe Hamilton, for your support for the project in Cambodia. And he also sent a beautiful invite when we were all allowed to travel to come with them when they go to the school in Cambodia. But I just wanted to thank you all. I know sometimes when we give the money, we don't really see where our work goes, but I just want you to know that community service, Carl Stuckey World Community Service, is working hard to make sure that our dollars collectively are seen in all parts of the world. We're literally right now in talks with projects in Kenya, a water project in Beirut to help a hospital there in Lebanon. Miss Karen and Miss Michael are dealing with some projects in Colombia. Miss Gail is always bringing us wonderful projects. So I just want to thank you all. We are working hard to make sure that our money is far reaching. And I wanted to, two things, invite you as a larger body to please, if there's any projects that come across your table, if there's something that you know needs some help or financial help, please head up World Community Service, myself or Phil. And I wanted to extend an invitation to our interactors. I'm so proud of the work that you all are doing. These are just the projects that we love to support. So I already saved your link. And if you ever, we would love to invite you all to present this to our committee and for us to help support you all. Like that's what we're here for. So again, just thank you all for all of your work to this, to our committee. And lastly, I just want to extend a very heartfelt thank you from our district for just our club renaming World Community Service in Dr. Stuckey's honor. So many people have gotten to us just thanking us because of the work that Dr. Stuckey has done, not just in our club, but as a Rotary as a whole. So thank you all and continue great work to you all.
Thank you so much, Renea and Phil, for that update from Carl Stuckey World Community Service.
Hey, sis, before we go on,
Continues. Jason. Can
we just unmute and just give a round of applause to everyone that's given for TRF and all the work? I mean, just
why don't we do that?
Incredible.
I mean,
incredible. This is a big deal. Big deal. Good job.
All right, Jason. Now you got an announcement you have to give to us.
That's true. So for those of you that are in business and are struggling and have tried fruitlessly to get a PPP loan the first time, you know there's a second round coming now. The Business Development Committee is going to put on a Zoom presentation on the 10th of February. It's Wednesday, February 10th from 5 to 6:30. We will send out a Zoom link. We have two great speakers, the illustrious Will Hobbs and the beautiful Tommy Arnold. We'll talk about the PPP loans and answer all your questions. So put it in your calendars, February 10th, 5 to 6:30. That's it.
Thank you so much for that announcement from Business Development. Rotarian Maria Saverimuthu, will you do us the honor of introducing this week's Civic Thursday speaker? Marie.
Thank you, President Ces.
There you go.
Good afternoon, Rotarians and friends. On behalf of our club, I'm delighted to welcome today's speaker, Selvi Stanislaus. Selvi is the CEO of the Franchise Tax Board. She's the fourth executive officer and the first woman to hold this position. She oversees the second largest tax department in the nation with more than 6,000 employees in California and out-of-state offices. She studied both in Sri Lanka and the US, earning a law degree in both countries. Her work in the California state government started in 1996 as part of the legal staff of the Board of Equalization. Over her 25-year tenure, she has received numerous awards and recognitions, including the prestigious award of Executive Woman Award from the National Association of women business owners. I have known Selvi since childhood, and 3 interesting fastest sprinter and received many awards. Her father was a tax accountant, and her grandfather was the first secretary of the Sri Lankan Treasury. Her grand uncle, a Catholic priest and a Cambridge scholar, was a strong proponent of social justices and institutional reform. Many of the labor rights that Sri Lankans enjoy today are due to his pioneering efforts. But what I admire most about Selvi is her caring demeanor and her dedication to humanitarian issues. She supports vulnerable women, aids displaced workers, and provides pro bono legal assistance. How fitting it is for us to have a speaker who shares a core Rotarian value of service above self. It's my privilege and honor to introduce Selvi Stanislaus to speak to us on stage.
Thank you so much, Mari. And good afternoon and welcome everyone. I want to start off by thanking the Oakland Rotary for having me. They are such a wonderful organization and vital part of our community, and I am honored that they asked me to speak with you today. And thank you also to our virtual attendees listening today on Zoom and Facebook. So today I'll be talking about hot topics in state taxes. And my goal is to provide you with some helpful tips and tricks and information for the upcoming tax season. So as Mari said, she wanted me to give a little bit of introduction about myself, Selvi Stanislaus, Executive Officer of the California Franchise Tax Board. I grew up in Sri Lanka, and earlier in my career, I worked in the private sector there as an attorney and also worked for the Chambers of the President's Council. I studied law both in Sri Lanka and here in the United States, earning degrees in both regions. And I've had the good fortune to lead FTB for the last 15 years. So as you know, FTB is the nation's second largest tax department, right behind the IRS. And depending upon the time of year, we can have as many as 6,000 to 7,000 employees working at FTB. So our mission is to help taxpayers file their tax returns timely, accurately, and pay the right amount of tax. And this money goes to fund services important to Californians. So our job is enormous. Just last calendar year, we collected $66 billion for the general fund. So in short, what the staff at FTB does, it really helps to pay for services that benefit all Californians. So these are important things like our roads, our emergency services, our police, our firefighters, our medical coverage, our education, our court system. So this revenue also supports programs that help people struggling to make ends meet, such as food stamps, California Earned Income Tax Credit, and the Young Child Tax Credit, just to name a few. So it is true, we have a huge responsibility, and it takes a village to do it all. So now let's get to our first topic of the day, and that is how to resolve a state tax issue. With many of our in-person offices closed due to COVID-19, many people want to know how they can resolve any issues they may have with FTB. So let's move on to slide number 2, how to resolve state tax issues. So at FTB, we interact with millions of people each year. We contact people for many reasons. It can be to correct their tax return, to pay a bill, or for audit or collection purposes. And sometimes, believe it or not, you may not agree with us. So we have a process that works well. So first, if you disagree with us, then we send you a letter in the mail, and then you can submit supporting documents and then contact us. And we have several options to contact us on our website, which I'll cover very shortly. And if your documents provide enough proof, we'll make corrections and then contact you and let you know, everything is good. So let me share with you an example. The last year, we looked at business expense deductions. And then there were quite a few taxpayers who had claimed large amounts of mileage, large amounts of travel cost. And then these kinds of taxpayers fell out of our algorithm. And then we sent them letters and saying, based on the type of work you're doing, it has come to our attention that the mileage, to prove your mileage, approve your business expenses to us. And many of them wrote back to us and said, yes, we're sorry, we made a mistake. But some people did write back to us and say, no, we forgot to let you know that we are also a delivery service, so the mileage and those kinds of business expenses are correct. Okay, so then based on the documents, it was enough proof, we made the corrections, and it was all done. So the question next comes up, what if the information you provide is not enough? So if you agree with our decision, you follow the instructions on the letter, great. And if you disagree with our decision, then you have a couple of options. So if you want to avoid paying the penalties, the fees, or the interest, you can pay the tax and then file what we call a claim for refund. And all that is available on our website. And then what if we deny the claim for refund? Then you can submit with our denial your claim of refund, and then you can move on to the next step, which could be an appeal. And then the question comes up, so what happens now if the issue remains unresolved internally? You have other channels too. You can contact our taxpayer advocate services, and they will also try to see if they can find a way to help you. If not, you can take it externally to the Office of Tax Appeals or to the courts. So moving on to slide number 3. So what's the best way to contact us? I understand that sometimes when people contact us, they have a long wait lines. So the best way to contact us is look at our dashboard on our website. It has our wait times page, and it gives you up-to-date wait times for returns, for refunds, for individuals, for businesses. We also give you wait times if you're trying to make a payment using your web pay, your credit card, or your mails. Or we also give you the wait times for all different types of contact, including our customer service line, or you want to live chat us and talk to us by live chat or by mail or fax. So it's all there on our website, and you can figure out which time is best for you to contact us. So now moving on to the next slide, that is slide number 4, COVID-19 impacts on FTB. So as you know, COVID-19 has had a huge impact on all of us. At FTB, one of the biggest impacts stemming from COVID-19 was having to transition 75% of our staff to work from home. Some of you may be working from home due to the pandemic, so I'm sure you understand how big of a work and lifestyle change this was to FTB. Almost immediately, we had to pivot all these folks to teleworking status. Having said that, we still have people coming into the office. We have to open up mail, we have to process mail. So one of my top priorities is to make sure that the employees coming into the office are safe during this time. And I too come into the office almost every single day. So moving on to slide number 5, COVID-19 impact now outside of FTB. Like I said, we had to do a lot of shifting, moving to online services since we couldn't do many in-person services during COVID time. But we've been fortunate that over the last few years, FTB has focused heavily on developing electronic services that are easy to use for both taxpayers and professionals. So things like My FTB. So it's a website tool that gives you individuals and businesses and even tax professionals online access to tax account information and online services. So through My FTB account, it's just like your bank account. Customers can elect to receive account updates by emails or text messages. We also have our own FTB mobile app, which allows customers to check the status of their refund and make payments electronically. We also launched a new streamlined version of FTB's public website focused on an improved user experience and also increased accessibility. So our goal is to help taxpayers move forward using all the e-services, whether it's for return filing or issuing a refund or making a payment or resolving an issue. So we've also had questions about how to get free filing assistance to taxpayers now that in-person free tax filing assistance programs such as our VITA program, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, are now closed. So to answer many of these questions, we stood up a comprehensive web page on our public website listing all the various details regarding the July 15 postponement. As you recall, last year, the filing season was postponed from April 15 to July 15. So they're all on our website. So one of the questions, taxpayers have asked us is, what happens to audits and collections during this time? So I have to say our audit, claims, and protest programs for the most part continued with, of course, greater flexibility around the taxpayer's specific situation. So even the other day, I had a call from a taxpayer, and he wanted to have an in-person meeting. He felt that having an in-person meeting, would be beneficial for him and also for the state. So unfortunately, right now, because of COVID, we are not having any in-person meeting. But I did, channel him to get, to have the WebEx online, and he can talk to us by WebEx or call us. And I'm happy to say that finally he had a meeting just yesterday using WebEx, and he contacted me back and said, yes, it all worked very well. So we understand that the face-to-face meeting is what most taxpayers do want, but at this time we are still going forward with having more online or virtual kinds of meetings like you're doing right now for these Rotarian meetings. So some other common questions we've received are around COVID-19 relief. So the question that comes to us most of the time is about the stimulus payments. So they want to know if these are subject to income tax. And the answer, I'm happy to say, is no. The payment is not income, and taxpayers do not owe any tax on the stimulus payment. The payment also will not reduce a taxpayer's refund or increase the amount they owe when they file their tax returns. A payment also will not affect income for purposes of determining eligibility for federal government assistance or benefit programs. And another question that we've got is there a penalty for early withdrawals from a retirement account? And the short answer is no, there is no penalty. So the federal early withdrawal penalty waivers for distributions from qualified retirement accounts under the CARES Act also applies for California purposes too. So that's good news. All right, so now let's move on to slide number 6, a hot topic, working from home and the home office rule. So I will give you some high-level rules, and then if you have further questions, feel free to contact us because it is all based, on the taxpayer's specific situations. So like I said, we've received a lot of questions on whether people who are now working from home during the pandemic will be able to write off all their business expenses on their taxes. So for this particular topic, I'm going to focus on people who didn't work from home before, but now they're working from home on their dining room tables, in their bedrooms, etc. I'm sure many of you can relate to converting sections of your homes into workstations and even classrooms if you have kids at home. So generally, a taxpayer may deduct unreimbursed employee expenses. That is, the employee's expenses are not reimbursed if the employee is paying for this. But this is where the employee is not paying for your expenses. And so a taxpayer may deduct unreimbursed employee expenses if they meet the following sections. So the code says the expenses are paid or incurred during the employee's taxable year, that's last year, if the taxpayer is using a calendar year taxpayer, or the expenses are carried carrying on a trade or business of the employees. It's not for personal use, but carrying on the business or the trade. And the expenses are common and ordinary. They are not capital expenses, but they are, ordinary and necessary expenses. And it has to be connected to the taxpayer's trade or business. Okay. And based on that, there are other requirements, what we call itemized deductions. So these unreimbursed employee expenses are subject to the 2% limitations. So let me give you a little scenario about what the 2% limitation is, because many people ask me that question. So let's say if my AGI, adjusted gross income, is $30,000, and I have qualified unreimbursed employee expenses of, let's say, $1,000 of tax preparation fees. I have $100 of a safety deposit box fee, and then I have $50 of another rental fee. Okay, so I will be subject to the 2% rule. So when I add it all up, it comes to 1,150. So you look at the 2% of my AGI of 30,000, that is 600. So I deduct the $600 from the 1,150, which is the qualifying unreimbursed employee expenses. And I can only deduct $550 as a qualifying unreimbursed employee expenses. So I can't deduct all $1,150, but I can deduct the $550. So in a nutshell, that is how the 2% rule works. Okay, so now let's move on to the next slide, slide number 7, residency and income sourcing. So there are a lot of rules when it comes to residency and income sourcing. So I'll try to highlight and focus on the general principles. So with the ability to telework, and many people have traveled out of state, on a temporary basis. So like you said, the big question is, what is your filing requirement and residency status for your 2020 California personal income tax return during the COVID time? So the presumption is, to be a California resident, you have to be in this state for more than 9 months. However, there is no presumption of non-residency. So what I mean by that is spending more than 6 months or even 9 months outside the state does not automatically make you a non-resident. So what the state looks at it is, if you are a resident of the place where you have the closest connection, that's the theory. So the residency rule looks at a lot of facts. They look to see, how much of time you spent in California as opposed to outside California. Where does your spouse and children live? Where is the location of your principal residence? Where is your driver's license issued? Where are your vehicles registered? Where do you maintain your professional licenses? Where do you maintain your voter registration? Where do you bank? Where do you your healthcare provider? Are they in California? Are they out of California? Your accountants, your attorneys, are they in California? Are they out of California? So it's mostly of facts and circumstances. And so the state considers a whole lot of facts and circumstances, and you may or may not be a resident based on those circumstances. So I'll share with you an example. I had a call from someone who actually lives in Canada, and they were here in the Bay Area on a job. And then when COVID hit, they sort of moved out of California, they moved back to Canada. And so the question he asked me is, am I, a resident or not? And I said, well, take a lot of factors in. He is an American citizen. So, but he's, living, his wife and children are living in Canada. And I said, look at all this, look at all the facts and circumstances. Do you live, where does your spouse and children live? What is the location of your principal residence? Where you maintain your driver's license, look at all that, and you have to make a decision is whether you're a resident or not. Okay. So now the question comes up about, if you're a non-resident, do you pay taxes in California? And the answer is California does tax non-residents on only California source income. So what does that mean? That means that income from services performed in California, if you have rentals in California, or capital gains from real property in California, or income from a business or partnership based in California, then you would pay, you're a California non-resident, but you would only pay in California what's called a California source income. Okay, all right. So now moving on to another hot topic, and I'll just touch on that briefly because we don't make that determination. So moving on to slide number 8, independent contractors versus employees. So today we have all the Ubers and the Lyfts and the Airbnb and the Postmate drivers, or people that pick up on extra gig work using websites like Upwork or freelancers. So all these new peer-to-peer services are a great way to earn extra cash. So, but the gig economy is an ever-changing landscape. So one of those challenges is to determine whether that person is an employee or an independent contractor. So we at Franchise Tax Mode, we don't make that determination. So I would strongly encourage, if you have any questions, check the website, which is Labor and Workforce Development Agency's website at labor, L-A-B-O-R, labor.ca.gov. So at FTB, our main focus is to help taxpayers to file their taxes correctly, regardless of which category they fall into. And it is up to the taxpayer to figure out, based on all this, in which category they fall into. So there's a lot of resources available. There's also a common website called taxes.ca.gov. And it's a one-stop shop website. FTB has information, EDD has information, CDTFA has information, the IRS has information. So if you're looking at, self-employment tax, setting up your business, I would strongly encourage you to look at that website, taxes.ca.gov. Okay, all right. So looking at the next slide, is slide number 9, is community. Would you like to receive or know someone who would like to receive free tax help? So this includes helping out, filling out forms, what to do if you owe money, or how you qualify for tax credits, also such things, or even Cal EITC. So if you make $57,000 or less, or you have disabilities, or you speak limited English, or you are active duty or retired military personnel or a dependent, you may be eligible to receive free tax help through our VITA, Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program, that helps Californians get free tax help. As you know, going into a tax preparer's office, it can be anywhere between $500 to $600. And so these people are eligible for free tax help. Even people who are over 60, they are also eligible for free tax help through what we call the Tax Counseling for the Elderly, the TCE program. So on our website, we have the VITA and the TCE locator tools to help you find in-person help with your tax return. So having said that, I also I have an ask here. If you are willing to help us and help us in the VITA program, please join us. The program needs people like you, and that's the mission of the Rotary is to help people. So I would ask you, we need more people to help. We had enough people last year because most of the locations closed, but since we're doing a lot of it online, we are looking for more people to help us. So we also have our own website, which is called CalFile, and it's really quick. It takes about 15 to 30 minutes to complete. It is easy, it's simple, step-by-step process. It's got a fast refund, it's very safe and very secure, and best of all, it is free. All right, So now, last but not least, is a topic of tax fraud. So on the webs, on the on the news, all these few days, everywhere we turn around, we are hearing about tax fraud. We've heard about EDD's tax fraud, and different departments are facing the tax fraud issues. The IRS is facing the tax fraud issues, and so we also, have faced some limited amount of tax fraud. So with any tax season, there's always issues of tax fraud. And with the 2021 tax season underway, a few of the biggest issues we continue to see are centered around ID theft and what we call attempted refund fraud. So the complaints we see the most tend to involve taxpayers receiving a letter or email asking for their personal information to be released immediately. So it goes like this. We've had people calling our call center saying that, oh, the IRS called or the FTB called, and they said that they have to pay $20,000. And if they don't pay that money right now, they will be arrested immediately. And I'm happy to say many people, they hang up and they call us. And then we said, no, we will never call you and tell you to pay an exorbitant amount of money. The way we work, the FTB works, or the way the IRS works is that they will send you a letter if you have an outstanding balance on your account. So, there are a lot of scams working right now. So the question is, how does this scam work? It's a form of ID theft. What the scammers do is they use stolen personal ID information like SSNs, names, addresses, and other pieces of information to file a tax return in the victim's name and have the refund sent to them, to the bad guys. And so many of the victims, they are unaware that their information and their refund was even stolen until we contact them or they try to file a return and they find their return is blocked. So let me share with you a story. So this is a true story. So FTB agents, we conducted a large scale in 2017, a refund investigation involving an ID theft ring, but it had international ties to foreign countries. So what these suspects did was they purchased stolen personal ID information that was used to apply for credit online. So when you're applying for credit online or when you're filing tax returns, and they have somehow found this information, but they were so savvy, they concealed their IDs and they were operating on the dark net, utilizing Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, and also using encrypted communications and stored information on international servers. So we were very pleased. We were able to, make 8 arrests. We had warrants, search warrants to 8 locations. And then we worked with the IRS, with the district attorney's office, even with the post office to find these people. And we were also able to get some charges filed, and we were able to receive and some of them did pay back a total of $771,250 in restitution. So my point is, some of these people are really, really very savvy and very sophisticated. I'll share with you another example that happened at FTB. My personal specialist received an email from someone saying that Selvi Stanislaus, I have requested that my paycheck be deposited in a different bank account. And so, luckily she came up to me and I said, no, I'm not sure how this person, got this information and even gave the name of the bank account. Now, for this person to find my personal specialist, we have many specialists for the 6,000 people we have at FTB, to figure out who my personal specialist is and send that email, to me, it was mind-boggling. So I shared the information with you to inform and educate people to be very, very careful with your information. So I think my time is running out, so I just want to leave.
I think we have a ton of questions too. So a bunch of questions that we have to ask of you. Susie, will you start us off with the questions, please?
Yes, President Ces. So let me make this bigger so I can read them. I'm just going to start with Mary Jiang's question. Does the FTB conform to the $100,000 withdrawal from qualified retirement accounts to be taxed over 3 years?
Did you hear
So,
that, Sue?
I didn't hear the question. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let me go back. I have to find it. I'm sorry. I'm looking at a small screen. So Mary Jiang had a question. Does the FTB conform to the 100,000 withdrawal from qualified retirement accounts to be taxed over 3 years?
Yes, we do. Thank you.
Okay.
That was an easy one.
Yeah. Let's see. So Linda Hamilton is asking, does the California Franchise Tax Board have any influence on California tax policies?
So we are a tax administration department. So all we do is we follow the tax laws. So really the tax policies are determined by the legislature. And we follow, the bills that they've passed, and now they become tax laws. And all we do is we administer the laws.
Okay. So Lorna is asking how the FTB is transitioning on upgrading its ability to receive information electronically in light of the pandemic. And I know you answered that a little bit, but that was her question.
Yes, so the question is, how do we receive information electronically?
No, are you upgrading it?
Yes.
Upgrading it, because sometimes people have problems electronically in contacting the FTB.
Right, so we have our own system. So when the information comes in, we have our own case management system, and we continue to include all that information in the taxpayers account. So we are pretty up to date of information that we receive from the taxpayers.
Okay.
All right, we have maybe one more question because we're running out of time here.
Gary's question, are the tech firms leaving California a concern to the Franchise Tax Board?
So I don't know how to answer that, but I have to tell you, no one has contacted FTB and said, we are leaving because of FTB. So I'm not sure how to answer that question. But actually, I have to say, we've had contact of people who are leaving FTB, leaving California, and they just want to make sure that in terms of the taxes, how it works, and even those people who are saying they're leaving California, they say they're going to be here in California for 60–80% of the time, and how the tax system works. So I did answer that in terms of residency. But no one has called FTB and said that they're leaving because of FTB. I hope not.
Thank you, Sylvie, for being our speaker today. This year, our club is making homeless crisis in Oakland a priority. To that end, and as a gift to you for being our speaker today, in your honor, we are making a donation to support our unhoused residents in Oakland. Additionally, we would like to give you our Centennial book, which documents 100 years of service and friendship in the third oldest club in the Rotary world. Again, thank you, Sylvie, for being our speaker today. And have a round of applause. They can clap like this too. Rotarian Steve Nichols, will you tell us about our speaker for our next Civic Thursday meeting?
Thank you, President Ces. Next week, we are happy to have Michael Morgan back, who is the Oakland Symphony conductor, although I think he's been probably doing some air conducting over the last few months. He's going to give us an update on the Oakland Symphony and hopefully talk a little bit about the national implications of certainly Black Lives Matter movement that it's had on classical music. Obviously, we're like everybody else. We can't wait to get live music back. What I would recommend is that you invite a music-loving friend along with you next week, because Michael is a really, really wonderful speaker. Those of you who've been to the Paramount and heard him speak know that he's a very engaging guy. I actually don't know what he's going to talk about, but I've just left it up to him. He'll be a great speaker, so come and join us next week. Thank you, Seth.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Stephen, for the thought of the day. Thank you, Greg, for keeping our Interact team on forefront of service. Thank you, Robert, for an update from the Sonar Lima Committee. And thank you, Rania and Phil, for expanding our service throughout the world. Thank you, Jason, for the BDC announcement. And thank you, Marie, for introducing our speaker. And finally, a big thank you for our sponsor for today's meeting, Sandeepa and her company, Ka Creations. Jesse, before I wrap up this meeting, do we have any more bell ringers?
We have one more after Sandeepa started off the meeting with 5 bell rings. Marie ended the meeting today with 5 bell rings for our fantastic speaker.
Oh. We love you, and ORE loves you. Every time that bell rings, we know we got another $100 into ORE. Thank you so much. So I'd like to end this meeting as we always do, and that's the way it went at the 5,325th club meeting on January 28th, 2021 at Oakland Rotary number 3, the 3rd oldest Rotary club in the world. Everyone remember, Rotary opens opportunities for service above self. This meeting is adjourned.